Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle and triumph, a platform that allows individuals to share their truth and inspire others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named, is it Gogo or Jojo?
Gogo.
Gogo, that's what I thought. She came from Romania to the US in 2003 to build her American dream. By process of elimination, after trying to work in data entry in a warehouse, a sales rep in a jewelry store, restaurant food safety auditor, which I love that, stay-at-home mom, a waitress, her neighbor recommended she should become a realtor. Real estate kicked her in the ass very quickly, realizing over 80% of realtors give up within their first year. She did not want to be a statistic. Yes, that's my story. But she was also broke and had no experience. Totally get that. Barely spoke English and had $6 to her name. She turned to Facebook to help her out. It took her a few years to get the rhythm of things, but through the power of social media, she has personally sold over 80 million in residential real estate transactions. She is known for showing the good, the bad, and the ugly, yes, in real estate, and now has a team over 1,000 plus agents nationwide and internationally. In 2020, she created the Agent Attraction Boot Camp, and within a year of the launch, she was awarded the 2 Comma Club Award. So excited to hear all the secrets from Miss Jojo. Welcome, lady. How are you?
I am good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for taking the time. I so appreciate women like yourself who are moving, grooving, doing things, but still understand how important it is to take some time to share some value, to sit down with other women who are aspiring to reach the peaks that you're at. So I so appreciate you coming on and just hanging with us for a little while.
Thank you so much. I live my life by the Zig Ziglar quote, and you can have absolutely anything in life, the more people you help to get what they want.
Yes.
So I need to help everybody to get what they want so then I can have what I want.
I absolutely love it. So you are originally from, not originally, but you are born in or like raised in Michigan?
No, I'm born and raised in Romania, Transylvania, Romania. I was 21 when I came to the country. My whole family is still back home. I don't have anybody here. I always say, I came to a continent where I didn't know a single human being and I barely spoke the language. And I borrowed $200 and I was like, well, I'm going to go and build myself the American dream. And if it doesn't work out, I know where Romania is at. I can always just get on a plane. Hopefully I can afford a ticket and go home, right? So that's how it all started. And that was in 2003. And not until 2011, then I actually got a license in real estate and started being a business owner. Until then, in that period of time, I did everything as you listed and been a stay-at-home mom and all of those things.
I love it. So between coming to the United States and now, I'm sure there's been a ton of bumps and bruises and ups and downs and ebbs and flows. I would love for you to share with us a story of a pivot or a change or a turning point that happened in your life, and kind of where it led you.
Yeah. So at age 29, so I'm 41 now, age 29, when I started wondering, like, what the heck am I here for? Like, I never necessarily had a talent. So I didn't wake up one day and I was the world's best ballerina, or I have a voice to sing, or I could draw or paint. Like, I had no skill. right? So I was like, why am I here? Like, am I serving any purpose on this earth besides, don't get me wrong, delivering babies and becoming a mom and a wife, and we've been married now for over 20 years. That is a purpose, but I needed to feel something beyond that. I needed to fill my bucket of money making, right? And I couldn't figure out, I had no education, right? So I had no college education. I had no skill, like a God-given talent, right? So I was like, okay, what am I here for? Like, am I going to leave a mark in the history books one day where they're going to be like, yeah, there was this Gogo Bethke chick, right? So I started my soul searching, and it started with going to church on Sundays, sometimes just by myself. And then I just needed that conversation with God, right? And I also started watching Super Soul Sunday by Oprah and Masterclass by Oprah. So I would sit and get to the end of Super Soul Sunday and get to the end of Masterclass. And Oprah at the time was giving out like a leather notebook. And I signed up very quick and I got her leather notebook, and I would just sit there and watch those shows and write down my lessons, right? And then that took me down on the path of kind of just bettering my mindset and realizing that I have what I have because of the mindset that I hold. And in order to have something else, I have to change my mindset. And so then I started going down on the path of all of the, what are those videos called? Inspirational videos, right, on YouTube and things like that. And that's how I got into Dr. Wayne Dyer and Tony Robbins. I got to meet Dr. Wayne Dyer and actually got a hug from him while he was still alive. So it was, that's talking about pivotal moments in my life. That is the moment when I realized that people have energies. I knew that sometimes you meet a person and you're like, well, if I never see you again, I'll be perfectly fine. When I met Dr. Wayne Dyer and he hugged me on the stage, I was the only one from the crowd that he gave a hug to. He pulled me up on stage. I couldn't stop smiling, Sabrina, for like 2 weeks. I was walking around like an idiot. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I got off from Dr. Wayne. Like, it was such an energy boost that I can't even explain. And so I started going on the path of all of his videos, and I found Tony Robbins, and I got to the end of YouTube and Google and name it, right, with Tony Robbins. And then I started going to his events. So I've done UPW, which is Unleash the Power Within, probably 7 times. I did Business Mastery twice. I did Date with Destiny once, and then hopefully I'm going again at the end of this year. And then I learned to read books. Those are my books I need to read in 2022, and there's a 2023, and there's a whole other pile. I have 14 of them for the year that I need to finish. So I learned that the definition of insanity, right, is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. So if nothing changes, nothing changes. So you are where you are because of the knowledge that you hold, because the relationship that you have, because of the resourcefulness that you have. It's not the lack of resources, it's the lack of resourcefulness that people don't get to the next level, right? So then I realized I have to take my brain to the next level if I'm expecting to get a different result. And pretty much year after year after year, I have doubled my income. And today I'm a multimillionaire.
I love it. How important do you think, well, hearing your story, is personal development, or is a person actually diving into that part of their life? How important, where's the scale 1 to 10 on that?
So I use this, I read this statistic somewhere, or meme, I guess, or quote, or whatever this is considered to be, that 95% of your success is the 6 inches between your ears. Right? Think of it this way. I use this example all the time with my agents, right? Let's say you're a brand new, because I have 9 companies today, but most of them are in real estate. So let's say you are a brand new agent, never sold a house, right? And let's say you get the opportunity to go sit down with Grant Cardone. You're not going to understand 90% of the things that come out of his mouth, because you don't have the knowledge to comprehend that and turn that in and understand that and turn that into reality, right? So that means in order for you to truly have a meaningful conversation with Grant Cardone, you have to get at least 3/4 of his level.
Yeah.
Right? You can't go, I mean, imagine this, would you want somebody to do heart surgery on you if they never went to school, like they skipped high school and never even finished high school? Would you want them to cut you open and just sew you back up? None of us, right? So would you want somebody, in order for you to make the most amount of money in whatever you do, you have to be the expert. In order to be the expert, you have to have the most knowledge in that field. So you have to learn. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
One of my
What was it about real estate that caught your attention? Because, as I stated in the beginning, there was a lot of different things that you had done. And obviously, looking at you now, you have the ability to work hard at one thing. What was it about real estate where you were like, this is the thing that I'm going to dig into and become an expert in?
So it wasn't my idea, so I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. So I was a stay-at-home mom at the time and a waitress. So I was staying home with the kids during the day and waitressing in the evening. And one day I was out on the end of the driveway, and my neighbor was walking by, and my kids were riding their bikes, right? And she goes, Gogo, you're so social. You have all of these social media things. Because I had to do that in order to keep in touch with my family at home, right? In order to see all of my childhood friends raising their kids and going on vacation and getting married and getting divorced and, all of those life events, I had to have been on Facebook all day so I can see it happen, so I'm not missing out, right? So she saw that, being my neighbor, that I have a social presence. She's like, you would make an amazing realtor. You should go get a real estate license. Well, at that time, I was a stay-at-home mom and watching HGTV all day long. So I was like, I can do this. Like, how hard can this be, right? They show 3 houses, they buy $1 million. It's fine. Like, I can do that, right? And then I went and got my real estate license, and I passed right away. But then reality kicked in, being like, holy shit, this is hard. Who's going to buy a house from me? I don't know anybody, right? I have no college education. I had a much stronger accent than I have today. I had no sphere because I had no cousin. I had no college friend. I had no one. Like most people at least have people they grew up with and went to school with and college with. I have none of that. All of them live on another continent. Right. So I'm like, I have to find people, and where am I going to find them? It's going to be on social media. So that's how the madness started for me. But real estate wasn't my idea. It was my neighbor's idea. I just ran with it.
Fantastic. What gave you the idea to start showcasing it on social media? Because so many realtors don't.
They are what I call secret agents.
Yes.
So they're working really hard, 10 times harder than I do. Well, because again, going back to having no sphere. If you have sphere, maybe you don't have to be on social media as hard as I do, but I had no sphere. I had to build my sphere. So when I started at Real Estate One, I'm like the teacher's pet. Like I'm that person front and center on every event with a million questions, right? Like I hate not understanding something. So I went and interviewed all of the top producing agents in the office. So I go in there and I ask them, okay, hey, how do you do things? And why do you do that? And how can you show me your systems and your trackers and what book you do read? What avenue do you go to? Do you buy Zillow leads? Do you door knock? Do you cold call? I ask them all the questions, right? And then I came to the conclusion that I have to door knock. I'm not going to do that. I'm 5'2", little blonde, not happening. I have to cold call. I'm not going to do that. My name is Gogo and I have an accent. It's the wrong 1-800 number. Then I have to farm an area, which means sending postcards, mailers, that kind of stuff. I didn't have money to do that. Or buy Zillow leads, which is against my religion. Plus, I didn't have money to do that. So I was like, okay, what else is left? Where are the people that could potentially buy a house from me, and who are they? And to me, they were strangers. Yeah, I don't know anymore. So strangers is my opportunity. And where am I going to find strangers? Facebook. And then now LinkedIn and TikTok and you name it, now I'm everywhere, right? But it started out with Facebook.
Awesome. That's fantastic. When you were first stepping into Facebook, were you stepping into it knowing what you were going to do with it, or were you just kind of sharing your life?
I tell people all the time, when I popped out of my mom's whatnot, I did not get an SOP how to use Facebook. Facebook didn't even exist at the time, right? So everybody's like, it's so easy for you, Gogo. Yes, it's easy because I go in there like an annoying 3-year-old and I push every button and I see what happens when I push it. It's that simple. Anything that you don't know is just because you didn't give it enough time to figure it out. It's really that simple. It comes back to you, like it or not. Look in the mirror. That's why you don't know it, because you haven't spent enough time on it, right? So what I do is I just go on and I push every button and I see what happens when I push it, right? Now, I'll be honest with you. Today, I have multiple assistants, right? The only platform that I personally use today is Instagram. Like I have a TikTok account, but I never even logged in, right? My team manages that. So eventually you will get to the point to have platforms in your life. First of all, you have to be on all of the platforms. Second of all, you do not have to be the one managing it and posting, right? So what I do is I post on Instagram. That's my home, right? And automatically feeds over to Facebook. And then my Karen, my social media assistant, takes all of that information and plasters it on YouTube's, LinkedIn, all the Facebook groups, all the things that we manage. So we have multiple brands under the Gogo name umbrella, right? So we feed the information to all of them. I'm just not the one doing it.
Beautiful. What was your aha moment with social media where you were like, oh my gosh, this is a thing. Like, this is going to help me. This is going to be my vehicle.
Yeah. Well, a couple things, right? So number one, when it comes to social media, you cannot, people play it safe, right? They play it in their comfort zone. Oh, I don't want to be too loud because I don't want people to think I'm a loudmouth. Oh, I don't want to say that because I don't want people to think this. I don't give a beep what people think, right? So I use this sentence all the time. I start caring about your opinion as soon as I can deposit it into my bank account. Right? So since I can't deposit your opinion into my bank account, it doesn't matter. I'm looking for the people who are looking for me. And the only way I'm going to find my tribe if I allow the world to get to know me. And in order to allow the world to get to know you, you have to show your truest self, right? Sometimes I use the F word. Sometimes I have makeup on. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I look hip. Sometimes I look hot. And everything in between, right? So I take him on with the ride of my life. So initially when I started posting, I was like, well, I don't know anything about real estate. So I posted about what I don't know. And then I would do a bunch of lunches and coffee meetings with lenders, title companies, inspectors, appraisers, you name it. Anything I didn't know anything about, I had a lunch with an expert, right? And then whatever I learned at that lunch, I would do a video on it or a post on it. Like, guess what I learned today? Oh my gosh, did you know that? Blah, 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 whatever I learned that day, right? And so over time, when the information comes through your lips, makes you the expert.
Yeah.
So even though I borrowed knowledge from others, right?
Yeah.
I made a post about it that made me an expert, and then all of my leads came from social media. I never bought a lead in my life. So I never did the Zillow things. And, you know, most realtors buy leads because they don't learn how to fish for themselves. When you learn how to use your social media and you find your people, they will reach out when they have real estate needs. And then that way, even my whole team today is fed from organic leads. I never bought a lead.
Beautiful. When you were first diving into this realm of sales, who were your mentors? Who did you look up to?
Oh, everybody. Everybody that had something that I didn't. Like you mentioned the Cardones earlier. I follow the Cardones. I actually got to have lunch with Elena. Not lunch, I stopped into her office for a couple hours about a few weeks ago when I was down in Miami. So I follow everybody. Think of it this way. Whatever level you are in life, you want to follow the people who are like 2 steps ahead. If you're a brand new agent, you do not want to follow Grant Cardone. I mean, follow him, but you're going to be so far apart that you're not going to be able to comprehend a quarter of what he's saying, right? But let's say you're an agent who's never sold a transaction. Follow the agents in your office that they're doing 1 a month, right? Now, when you can do 1 a month, follow the agents who are doing whatever, 40 deals a year, 50 deals a year, right? Now, when you did that, then follow the agent who's starting to build a team. Right now that you did that and you built your team, now to follow the agents who have mega icon teams, over 100 agents on their team and $200 million in production. Now that you did that, start following people who are doing investments, because now you have way too much money and you don't know what to do with it. And also follow people in the financial world. So figure out how to save yourself on tax dollars, because if you're stupid, excuse my French, if you're working this hard to make the money and you don't learn how to save it, meaning play the game, because if not, Uncle Sam is going to take it from you, right? And then now that you did that, follow the people. So it's not like, I always followed the big ones. So like the Oprahs, the Dr. Wayne Dyers, the Tony Robbins, the big names that are more on the spiritual side of the trainings, I followed no matter what from day one. But the people who are on the technical and the everyday side of the business, right? You have to follow the ones who are just 1 step ahead, right? Because if you go, yeah, go ahead.
So spiritual and technical. I've never heard that before. That's awesome. That totally makes sense.
Yeah. So the spiritual, because you have to grow as a human, right, in order to take yourself to the next level, and that's a different game than the technical side of things.
Yeah. What were the 3 biggest mistakes that you made first starting out in real estate?
Oh gosh, I look at mistakes as lessons. Right? I like to say that God will throw you little pebbles, and if you don't listen to the pebbles, he's going to throw a brick. So I usually listen to the pebbles, so I don't have a lot of bricks in my past. But let me think on it. I mean, on the real estate side of things, I feel like I used to cry over a deal, right? I used to let it affect me. So as a realtor, we are the punching bag in the middle between, if you think about it, it's people's biggest assets that we are messing with. And that's where the egos comes out when they look at the bottom line, right? And who are they going to blame is the agent in the middle. So usually we are end up being the punching bag for it. And I used to take things personally, right? Oh gosh, I'm so over that. I don't cry over a commission, right? You're like, no, I'm not the person anymore. But I do want to say that grow some thick skin, no matter what business you are in, because you're going to need it, right? And I always look at it, I don't think ever anything's going to stop me, because I look at any obstacle that I'm faced with that, hey, we have a problem, let's solve it, right? So now I don't think nothing's ever going to stop me in my track unless I'm sick and dying, right? Other than that, I don't really have things that I allow to affect me. Another way I want to put it is that if it's going to, when you're faced with something, right, look at it and be like, is this going to matter in 5 years? If it doesn't matter in 5 years, don't give it 5 minutes. Now, if it's going to matter in 5 years, then think about it a little longer. But for me, we have a problem, let's fix it.
Yeah.
That's simple. Because if you don't learn the lesson, that is going to keep coming back and bite you in the butt until you learn it.
Yeah. Do you think every entrepreneur should be on social media the way that you are?
Oh, absolutely. Well, let me ask you a follow-up question. Do you think everybody should make money easy or hard?
Easy.
Then they should be on social media. If you
so
want to
those
work
that are finding
hard as me, then don't be on social media.
So if somebody is finding it hard to be an entrepreneur, which I hear all the time,
maybe they're not meant to be entrepreneurs. Not everybody's designed to be an entrepreneur, right? There's all kinds of people in this world. There's the artist, there's the manager, and there's the entrepreneur, right? The artist is who can come up. I have a little bit of all three, but by core, I'm an entrepreneur. An artist is the person who will think of the project, of the idea, and he will make it the best. But if you tell them that you don't like it, they will take it personally. You just hurt their baby, right?
Okay.
But the artist cannot manage, and the artist cannot run a business. They don't have those skills, right? Then you have the manager, who doesn't have the artist side of them, right, to imagine the things, and doesn't have the entrepreneur side of them to take risk, but has the manager side to run it and has patience for people, which I don't. And then there's the entrepreneur who's going to bulldoze everybody over to get their big, obnoxious dream built, right? And they don't care how they're going to get there. They just know they're going to get there, right? So some people don't have the entrepreneurial, and that's okay. That just means that they need to partner with somebody who does.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the artist, maybe you're a manager. That means you're going to have to get one or the other to make it a full picture.
Yeah. So you almost need all three for it to work.
In order to run a very profitable business, you do.
Yeah. When did you decide to get into online programs?
So I started getting invited to come speak at events, right? And people would ask me all the time, hey, Gogo, how do you do this? Hey, Gogo, how do you do that? Hey, Gogo, why do you do this? Can you show me how to do this? Can you? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a broken record. Like, I'm answering the same questions over and over again. So it dawned on me, I'm like, hold on a minute. I'm just going to record myself explaining these things. And if somebody needs it, here's a video, go watch it. Right? So that's how Gogo's Bootcamp started. It started with Gogo's Bootcamp social media first, for which we have a 2 Comma Club award. And then 2 years later, sorry, this boob is showing. 2 years later, being a woman in business, right? 2 years later, I started the agent attraction course. So by that time I switched to EXP. I became one of the top agent attractors in the company. I think I'm the first woman with the largest frontline agents that I brought to the company. And then people would ask me all the time, hey, how did you build your downline? How do you do agent attraction? What systems do you use? What CRM program? All of that. So it's like, okay, hold on a minute. Let me record myself. And then we did that. And again, that one also got a 2 Comma Club award. So I have 2 Comma Club awards for each of my courses. If you hold knowledge on a subject that you feel like you can help another human to reach their goal faster, you absolutely need to start a course.
Thank you for that. 100. Definitely. What are your big dreams for your business?
Like long time or today?
Yeah. Lifetime.
No, lifetime. I just know, this might sound crazy for the people listening out there, but I just know I'm going to be a billionaire. I just know it. I never knew, even growing up from yay big, I always knew I'm going to be very well off. I just never knew what's going to be the avenue because I never had that talent, right? That skill that God gave you, or at least I didn't know what it was. Today, I thank the Lord for my brain. I think I have a very good brain and I sure like to use it. So I'm right now, I own 9 businesses. I have a whiteboard here. I would show you, but then I'm going to dump a bunch of things on my computer, so I'm not going to do that. But I literally write down all of the ideas that God gives me. Last year, I opened 4 companies, and so my assistant and my husband, not assistant, she's my operations manager now, but she's been with me for 8 years, started out as an assistant. They made me do a pledge where I'm not opening any other businesses in 2022, but guess what? It's 2023. So it is on. So I'm building out a academy or university. So right now, all of my coaching programs are for realtors only, even though I own 9 different businesses, and I consider myself more of an entrepreneur today than a realtor, right? Don't get me wrong. Once a realtor, always a realtor, and I am licensed, but I do a lot of things. So I'm going to build out a university that we are going to open up to entrepreneurs altogether. So because I am so blessed, through the years I have met amazing people. Like I got to speak on stage with Ryan Serhant, I got to speak on stage with Coach Bird, I got to speak like so many different people, right, that are bring something to this world, and I made amazing friendships. And everybody has a skill, right? They have a skill for something. So I'm going to have my friends come and teach in our online academy, for Entrepreneurial Academy, and then that's my baby for this year. I want to have that up and running by the end of the year.
Who will it be for?
All entrepreneurs.
All entrepreneurs.
I want anything from how to build a business to mindset to advertising, marketing, right? Organic or paid. I have amazing companies and I work with that can build you funnels, run your ads, all of those things, right? And explain how to do it yourself if you'd rather keep it in-house. And then also the financial side of things, the investment side of things. That I feel like there's no education on, there might be education of how to make money and be successful at whatever you do, but there is no education on what to do with your money after you made it, how to save it, how to grow it, and then also to reduce your taxable income, right, and your liabilities and all that. So I'm going to bring in all of my attorneys and my tax advisors and asset planners and bookkeepers and just everything that you need to run a profitable business, so you can literally walk yourself through the whole process of being an entrepreneur wherever you are in your entrepreneurial process, and then also whatever line of business you are in. So we are going to make it as generic to entrepreneurship as we can.
Beautiful. I do think that that is a scary thing for a lot of entrepreneurs, just being where I am in the realm of younger entrepreneurs. You know, I work with women who are just starting out in business, or between 1 to 5 years with 5 or less employees. And quite honestly, the nerves that so many women have around even just making over 6 figures and what the tax brackets look like, you know, as you start to kind of grow up. So what you're doing as far as being able to generically, as you said, attract, you know, even the smaller people who are just starting out, who don't understand the Grant Cardone language, is something that so many females need.
Yeah,
I love that.
So that's my goal, because same thing, right? I remember 1 year, so this is probably 5 years back, I more than doubled my business, but after I paid taxes, I made less than the year before.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on a minute. Let me get this straight. So I'm going to work 2.5 times as hard to make less money than I did when I worked 2.5 times less, because I had to pay it on taxes. Never again. I will learn to play the game.
Yeah. You have to. They force you to. What were the biggest limiting beliefs that you had to throw in the trash can in order to get to where you are right now?
I mean, I hate to sound like this, then I don't have limiting beliefs, but I mean, everybody does, but in the same time, I don't. Like, I believe that God designed you, right? And if God gives you an idea, he gave you that idea to you because you have the best skills to make that happen. If you didn't, he would have given it to me or so-and-so over there. So if he given it to you, the question is, do you have the balls to take action? And I think that's where most people go wrong. They let the little monkey talk to them on the shoulder. Your brain is designed to protect you. Your brain is designed to save you from taking that next step because you might fall and hurt yourself. But as long as you can get up and dust it off and be like, well, that was funny, make a good laugh about it and move on with whatever you're trying to build. So I have no fear, because if God gives me an idea, like most of my ideas come in the shower for me for whatever reason, I don't know. It's like comes through the water. I don't know. So if God gave me an idea, I already know that I have the skills. So I just take action because I know I cannot fail. Because he would not have given it to me. He would have given it to you if you had better skills for making that happen.
Do you think that's good parenting on top of that?
I do. So I have to, okay, let's have a therapy session here. So when I went to my very first UPW, I got a very prolific life lesson. So in my childhood, my parents never told me they loved me. They never told me they're proud of me. They didn't care if I did my homework. They never checked on my grades. They just let us roam free. They fed us. They kept us safe. I had a very healthy, so said childhood. Nothing ever bad happened to me, right? But they didn't tell me that they love me. Now, if you know the love languages, you cannot do for me because I believe I can do anything. So in order for me to feel someone's love, I need to hear it. You need to tell me with words. That's how I know, right? So because my parents never told me, my parents would do for me anything. They would do anything for me. I cannot feel their love because I can do anything, right? I don't need you to do stuff for me. Just tell me you love me. That's all I need, right? Because they never told me, I was constantly searching, right? Maybe if I achieve this, that's when they're going to tell me they're proud of me. Maybe if I do that, that's when they're going to tell me they're proud of me. Well, they never did. I won and won and won. I won first place here and first place there and first place here and scholarship here and scholarship there. And my parents never did. So what happened is, so at Tony Robbins, he says, if you are holding something against someone that they did to you, or in my case, they didn't, you also have to give them credit for what you became of it.
Yes.
So I would not be who I am today. If my parents loved me the way I needed it, I'm literally getting chills over it right now. If my parents loved me the way I needed it, I would not be who I am today. Does that make sense? So what I learned from the process is I learned that I have to love myself, because that's the only controlled love. That's the only love that I can control.
Yeah.
Love myself. So I learned that so early on that now I don't need it from anybody else. Now I don't care what the world thinks, right? I feel that it's a privilege for you to be a part of my life. You have to earn that spot in my life. I don't care about the naysayers. Put it this way. Starbucks does not care about the people who don't drink coffee. I don't care about the people who don't like me for whatever reason. They don't like me. They are not my people.
Mm-hmm.
I care about the people that do like me. So the faster you can learn to love yourself, the faster you could give one shits of what anybody else thinks.
I like that. Starbucks doesn't care about people who don't drink coffee. That's great. So true.
So don't spend your time on anything negative. Spend your time on everything positive. So I learned that lesson early on, to learn to love myself and accept the way I am. God created me and God doesn't make mistakes. So I just can go and do whatever I want because it's mine. The world is my oyster.
Yes, 100. Why do you do what you do?
Oh, gosh.
What's the point of it?
It's a great question, right? A lot of reasons. It started out with proving it to myself and my parents. So if you think about it, I left everyone behind. So I came from Romania and I knew no one in this country, but that means no birthdays, no Christmases. They don't get to see my kids grow up, my parents. My kids don't speak Hungarian. My parents don't speak English. We get to see each other for maybe 2 weeks every year at best, right? So if I'm sacrificing so much of I don't have the option of going over to my parents on Sunday for dinner. I haven't had that for the last 20 years. In the last 20 years, I spent one birthday with my family. Right? So now think of that. Like, how would you feel it's your birthday and your sister is not coming over and your parents are not coming over and you haven't seen them in 2 years? Right? So if I'm sacrificing all that in this life, then it has to have a reason why. So I didn't come here to America. I did come for my American dream, but I didn't come here to half-ass it. So I'm doing it because I'm constantly chasing that next level of me, to be like, one day when I die and I'm hopefully at the pearly gates of heaven, and God looks at me and be like, good job, girl. You kicked some ass, right? That's what I'm doing it for. I'm doing to see what is my next level. So if I can do this, then what else can I do? And if I can do this, then what else can I do? And if I can do this, then what else can I do? Right? So it's like a constant, I love the chase of my next level. And then also my other favorite thing to do, which came later in my career, is the ability to help others do the same. Right? To give back my knowledge, and watch someone being here in their business, and by coaching with me for a couple of weeks being here in their business, like that is the best feeling on earth. So that's what and then third, but number one, is my family. I want to be able to provide a life for my children that I never had. I want them to see the world. I want them to have experiences, and I want them to see my hard work. I have the freedom to choose what they want to be, because certainly I literally had this conversation late last night with my oldest son, who's 16, of like, I want you to go get a job, and random jobs, just so you can figure out what you love doing and what you hate. And also so you can one day appreciate being an entrepreneur. So you can appreciate not having to wake up at 8 and put a uniform on and somebody tell you what to do all day long and what time you can leave. And I want you to miss a couple trips with your friends because you have to go to work, because you're not going to be able to appreciate your freedom unless you didn't have it.
Totally agree with that. And I'm dealing with that right now with my son too. Like, you have to go out and just work any place. It doesn't matter. Just get a job and go to work and do hard things. And you don't have to stay there. You can go to a different job and you can try a different thing, and you can work your entrepreneur side hustle while you're working those things and going to school. Like, you can do all of it.
And they're not going to go to college. I'm not against college, but I'm not a firm believer that you need higher education to be an entrepreneur. Now, I do believe to be an attorney or a doctor, right? I don't want somebody opening me without that experience, right? So I believe there are time and a place for college, but I feel like for entrepreneurship, you don't necessarily need higher education. I feel like street smart and working for someone who does what you want to do is a much better education. So even though we save for our kids, I don't do a 504 plan or whatever that's called, the college plan for the kids, because A, I don't know if they're going to go to college, and B, I don't know if they're going to go in that state, right? So we save for them in a different way so they can use it for whatever. So last year I was putting money in their accounts, and they were a little older. So I said, okay, I'm going to give you a chance to pick a couple of stocks, right? So instead of me just picking the stocks for you, how about you go and do some research, come back and tell me what stock you want me to buy for you, right? So we did that last year, but Kobe was like, what are you saving the money for? And I said, well, for your education. And Kobe goes, what makes you think I'm going to college? And I was like, oh, you're not going to college? And he looked at me, he goes, well, you didn't go and you're doing just fine.
Yeah, same. That's what I'm dealing with too.
Oh, lead by example. Okay. Well, then you better figure out where is your talent, and do you have a hustle? Because if not, you're leaving this house at 18. So I don't know what to tell you.
That's great. I love it. Fantastic. Well, I so appreciated you hanging out, relaxing with us, sharing some of your story. Absolutely phenomenal. Everything that you're doing within the entrepreneurial industry, as well as real estate. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
I would probably recommend this tiny little book, which is upstairs. I think my son has it, because now their chores, yeah, he has it. I saw it upstairs in the living room. Now their chores are that every day they have to watch a 30-minute inspirational or read a book for 30 minutes. And so he has one of my favorite books right now. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. I would get that book. It's kind of religious, starts out religious. So when my real estate coach back in the day recommended it to me, I was like, why? This is played in Jesus's era. What am I reading? It's 2018 or whatever it was at the time, right? So I would recommend read that book. And I think it's chapter 11 that talks about I am nature's greatest miracle. Because I do believe that your success, no matter what field you are in, is your head. It's your mindset. If you believe that you are the best, and if you believe that you should be at the top, you will be. It's really that simple. Of course, you have to have a matching work ethic to your thoughts, right? But I believe it's really that simple. So I would recommend for everyone to read read The Greatest Salesman in the World.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you. If people are looking for you, they're resonating with all the goodness that you're sharing, where is the best place that people should be following you?
So Gogo's Real Estate or Gogo Bethke, you can find me anywhere. Gogo's Real Estate on Instagram is the one where I personally answer all the DMs. Everywhere else I have virtual assistants. So if you want to talk to me directly, Instagram, Gogo's Real Estate, but you can also find me anywhere under the Gogo Bethke or Gogo's Real Estate brand.
Beautiful. And then as far as the link above your head area, what can people find there?
Oh, I didn't even notice that. So Gogo's Bootcamp is one of the products that I was talking to you about. Right now, only the agent attraction product is for sale. So if you are in real estate and you're planning on building a team, or a downline or organization, depending what brokerage you are with, that's what we teach. So I'm the #1 woman in the company when it comes to agent attraction. I brought one of the most agents, and I build systems and websites. So that's what we do for our agent attracting students. Not only that, based on a video-based training, we teach you how to do everything, how I got to where I'm at, so you can copy and paste into your business. But we also build both of the websites that you're going to need in the process, which is yourname.com and yourteam.com. So the yourname.com is what's public facing, and everybody that wants to talk to you about partnering with you would go to that website that has videos, links to your calendar, all of those things. And then after they join you, they get access to your team website, right? Yourteam.com or yourteam.team. And that's where your hub is. That's where you give them all of their benefits. That's where your weekly trainings are. That's where your team map is. That's where your onboarding is, your Google Drive. So everything that you could possibly need for your team to set them up for success, that's what we build. So not only we teach how to do everything of what I have achieved for you to do the same, but also my team will build your systems of yourname.com and then your team, that team.
Wow. What platform do you guys use to do that? Like a Wix or a WordPress or?
No, so depending if they have ClickFunnels, we build their sites in ClickFunnels or go high level.
Wow, ClickFunnels. I didn't know ClickFunnels had websites. I thought that was lead pages.
Well, I guess I call them website. They're a funnel, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I'll have to.
They call them funnels. I call them websites because it looks like a website, but it's a funnel in it. So technical terminology.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm learning. So that's why I ask questions. Well, I so appreciate you hanging out, Gogo. This was absolutely phenomenal. You are as amazing in person as you are on social media. So thank you so much for showing up fully, authentically, and heart-centered. We appreciate that. For those of you watching live, thank you for being here. For those of you watching on the replay, make sure you #replay wherever you are so we can show you some love. If you resonated with Gogo and all the goodness that she shared today, be sure to check out her website or follow her on all the social media platforms, drop into her DM and all that goodness. Thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share, be sure to reach out to me at hernation.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows individuals to share their truth and inspire others. As always, do something